Riley, Director of Instruction and Player Development at Nashville National Golf Links, just outside of Nashville in Joelton, Tennessee. And today we're going to talk about putting. And we're going to talk about just basic fundamentals of a good putting stroke. Now, if you're a great putter already and you do things differently than what I'm telling you here, this is my way of doing it, then forget what I said. If you're a great putter, don't change things just for the sake of trying to look better. So we're going to talk about just basics of putting. And there are a million different ways to putt, but I'm going to get you in the proper position and hopefully enable you to make more putts. On the PGA Tour each week, in spite of the fact that some other strokes gain statistics like approach to the green seem to be more important, you'll find that the winners each week always seem to be ranked very high in putting. So it's important for them, but I think it's even more important for those of us who aren't quite on that level. And especially when you get to the higher handicappers, if you're somewhat of a beginner, these fundamentals are important. Putting is important. If you can get on the green and two putt each time, you're doing your job and you're going to shoot better scores. If you shoot 102 and you've had 42 putts, well, just imagine if you could knock that down to 34 putts, which is not that big of a stretch. Your score would go from 102 to 94, and if you're putting that well, then I think it can drop even farther. So we're going to talk about some basic fundamentals. The first thing we're going to talk about is the grip, and there are a number of ways to grip the putter. You've seen people with the left hand low. I'm talking for a right-handed golfer. You've seen this saw, claw grip, the putter coming up, the forearm, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go with a basic grip. The most important thing you can do is, you see on this Golf Pride putter grip, the top is flat. Just make sure your thumbs are on the top of it. That's the most important thing. I have a reverse overlap grip where my index finger of my left hand kind of covers the ring finger of my right hand, and then my hands are just kind of facing each other, so I don't have a lot of face rotation when I putt. And I just hold the putter. I don't squeeze it to death, but I don't want to hold it so light where it kind of moves in my hand. So you got to have somewhat of not a firm grip, but just make sure you're holding on to it. The second thing, getting set up to the ball. The important thing to me for a basic, fundamental, good putting stroke is having your eyes over the ball when you get set up. And to me, one of the best ways I do this when I'm out practicing, just to make sure I'm heading in the right direction, is I take my grip, put my arms out, pull them in so that the backs of my arms touch my shirt or sweater, whatever I have on, this jacket. And then my feet are about shoulder width apart, and just a little bend in the knees and then bend at the hips. And when I finish, I should be with my eyes right over the ball. Now, I'm fortunate here with I've got this eyeline groove putting mirror, so I can see where my eyes are. And this is good. This is a great practice tool for me. I'm using this perfect practice putting mat. It's a pretty neat deal. But if you're just out on the putting green and you're warming up, you want to make sure you're in the right position, a good way to do that, two good ways to do that. Take a tee, get set up to the ball, and then drop that tee from the bridge of your nose. And if it hits the ball, your eyes are right over the ball. Now, you can be a little bit inside the ball this way. You can be a little bit inside this way, but don't want a lot, okay? So, grip, thumbs down, arms in, bend at the hips. I've got the ball pretty much in the middle of my stance. Whoops. That'd be a penalty. And then I'm just going to swing the putter back and swing it through. It's easy as that. Now, the putting stroke itself. I see so many people think, oh, you decelerated. They always say, you decelerated. The biggest problem I see are people who putt short to long. and they don't have any distance control, and they just don't make good putting strokes. To me, in a perfect putting stroke, your backswing is going to be just a touch longer than your follow-through if you're just swinging the putter. Because once it hits the ball, the putter head slows down, so it should be just a touch shorter. It can be the same length. Don't make the follow-through longer than the backswing. So if you'll notice, when I putt, my backswing is just a little bit longer than my follow-through. People say I have kind of a pop stroke, but it works really well. I'm just trying to tap the back of the ball, and I have very good speed control on the greens. I don't three-putt a whole lot. So the next thing I want to talk about is developing somewhat of a routine. And here's what I do, and you can do whatever makes you feel comfortable that you feel like you can do every time. But I take 2 practice strokes, one looking at the ball, the second one looking at the hole. Just kind of gives me, an idea of the speed and where the ball's going to go. Then I go aim my putter face first, just like the full swing. You always want to aim the putter first. And then I take my stance, eyes over the ball, and then I look once, I look twice, and once I come back, I start my swing. It's pretty much you can put a stopwatch on on my routine. I kind of got it from, I guess, Tiger. I saw him do it, and I started doing similar to that, and I've been doing it for years. And it's really great for if you get under a little bit of pressure. You're doing the same thing every time. You're not having to think about things. Now, Jack Nicklaus was, one of probably the greatest putter ever, and he was just the opposite. He wouldn't draw it back until he was sure he was going to make it, and it would be different times. But I like this for most people to get into somewhat of a routine. So, to review, grip, thumbs down the top, the flat part of the grip, arms touching your shirt, aim the club face, get set up, eyes over the ball, look once, look twice, boom. It's as simple as that. So we'll talk about maybe reading greens another time, but the most important thing you can do with putting is not necessarily reading the direction, although that's important. The most important thing you can do is read the speed. If you can get the speed right, even if you hit it offline, it's going to be close enough where you can make your next putt, and that's the key to putting. So remember these things. If you want to take a lesson, work on the short game, work on the putting, just give me a call. I'd love to do it. I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.